All right, back in the saddle again. Another week gone. College football and the NFL, even though we do have Monday Night Football tonight. College basketball tips off tonight. I cannot wait. Really excited about that. Interested to see Syracuse with a new coach, with Red Autry, now that Boeheim's done. We've obviously got Shire at Duke, now that Coach K is done. You know, we've seen, Roy Williams be gone from North Carolina with Hubert Davis out there for a couple years. So excited to get that tipped off. But what a great Booster Club tailgate this weekend.
That was unbelievable. So great to meet all y'all. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, I mean, it was
got to be an annual tradition.
Oh, for sure. We got to figure out a way to do that. Sister Riggs, Texas Ed, everybody that helped organize it. It was great meeting everybody. Finally getting to see everybody face to face, and we're sure it's something continue to grow year in and year out. And I thought Sasha had a good idea, maybe doing it at Hall of Fame game weekend, before everything really kicks off, everybody can get in. But that was a ton of fun, and definitely had a lot of open space there at Vanderbilt for the home football game. I don't want to take too many shots. But again, thanks everybody for joining us. Alabama takes control of the SEC West after beating LSU at home. Lincoln Riley finally fires defensive coordinator Alex Grinch after another poor performance. And the Eagles escape against the Cowboys at home. I'm Jake Crane. We got a lot to get to, so let's get it. Welcome to Crane & Company. It seems like for months here at Crane & Company, we've been asking the question why Jalen Milroe wasn't being used more in the design quarterback run game or being put in more RPO situations where he could pull the ball and run. We wondered why new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees was treating him like a pocket passer only, and why Milroe wouldn't take off more if the first read wasn't there, second read wasn't there, and he saw man coverage with the defender's back turned. Now against LSU Saturday night, we saw the best of Jalen Milroe because the game plan and the play calling was actually tailored to what he does best. Jalen's best weapon is his versatility. He isn't a bad passer by any means, but the pressure a defense has on them is multiplied by 1,000 when Milroe is running by design and through improvisation on the scramble drill. It also helps out that Bama's true run game because the threat of the pull is always there. It helps receivers get open because the threat to pull it down and take off is there. It seemed for weeks he was getting sacked because he wouldn't get out of the pocket while the getting was good. But this version of the Alabama offense, as bad as what LSU's defense has been all year, combined with Alabama's elite defense, can absolutely win the whole thing if the chips fall right. Now that Tommy Rees has let Pandora out of the box, he cannot simply put it back in. This is who Alabama has to be if they want to win the SEC and even more. This is who Jalen Milroe really is. And it's finally being embraced the way the Eagles have embraced Jalen Hurts' running ability and played to his strengths, and where the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, went wrong with Dak Prescott. The Tide now has the SEC West in a stranglehold, and we seem set on a collision course with them in Georgia. Now, a lot of people will say that benching Milroe against South Florida was one of Saban's best coaching moves, and they may be right. But his best move, in my opinion, this year was finally letting the big dog eat and show how deep Jalen's bag of versatility really is. So whichever side of the Bama debate you may fall on, I'm just glad I don't have to game plan against this guy, who right now is officially a witch. I'm going to bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback, David Cohn, my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crane. Again, it's something we harped on and we harped on and we harped on. And I know there's a couple trains of thought here, David. You obviously don't want to put Jalen Milroe in harm's way too much when you know what you have at the backup quarterback position now at Alabama. Not that Ty Simpson can't figure it out down the road, but he's not ready. Tyler Buckner, I don't think is ever going to be ready. So do you think maybe they were saving some of this, or it was finally embraced because that Alabama offense, with the way that Tommy Rees called that game with Jalen Milroe, is very, very hard to stop, and it makes everybody better?
Yeah, I understand the concept. You don't want to get a guy hurt or overuse him in certain situations, but also if you want to win SEC football games, you have to play to a guy's strengths, right? And I can't believe we're sitting here talking about Alabama on a collision course with Georgia in the SEC championship game after what we saw against when they played Texas and South Florida in those back-to-back weeks. Now, we talk a lot about Jalen Monroe as a young quarterback who's starting to figure things out week by week, but Tommy Rees is a young OC too. Maybe that's something that we haven't talked about enough. And he is starting to figure out a lot of things. And there is this element of, hey, did we not want to show too much before we played LSU, figuring things out in the bye week? But you had big games down the stretch, Tennessee and Texas A&M and things like that. Here was the last 4 weeks when it comes to Jalen Monroe's rushing. Against Texas A&M, minus 31 yards. Against Tennessee, 3 yards. Against Arkansas, minus 19 yards. And against LSU, 155 yards. 155 yards and 4 touchdowns, almost as many TDs as Jalen Monroe has rushed for the entire season, and still didn't have as many total yards as the guy on the other side, Jaden Daniels, who went out of the game early. That's what it took to beat that guy and that offense. But the most impressive number out of all of that, you can talk about that he's gotten his completion percentage up to 65% this year. Talk about the rushing yards and the touchdowns against LSU. The most impressive number was 0 turnovers this game. That's the thing. No interceptions, no strip sack fumbles, not the things that cost him against Texas, not the things that almost cost him when they were playing Tennessee and A&M. So that was what was most impressive, and we're on a collision course with Georgia. I think it's Nick Saban's greatest coaching job so far with this.
I think you can make an argument this is Kirby Smart and Nick Saban's, one of their best coaching jobs so far. Blaine, all off season and going into the early season, we heard Nick Saban talk about getting back to playing bully ball, getting back to big boying people. And when you think about that, you think about the John Parker Wilson Alabama offense. You think about the A.J. McCarron Alabama offense, the Jake Coker Alabama offense. Let's get in 12 personnel, 11 personnel. The quarterbacks, we're going to run downhill. We're not going to be high flying. We're not going to run all these RPOs, all these zone reads and things like that. But it seems like Alabama has finally made the conscious decision that this is who we need to be for us to blossom as much as possible. This is who Jalen Monroe needs to be able to put as much pressure as possible on the defense. And I tell you, I know LSU, again, has been really bad defensively. I think at some point you got to move on from Matt House, and I want to make sure and give Jaden Daniels his flowers, David. I agree with that 100%. But when you look at this Alabama team, and you look at Michigan, and you look at Florida State, and you look at Ohio State, and you look at everybody kind of in the surrounding area, Texas, who we know beat Alabama on the road, how dangerous is this Alabama team if they operate in the style they did against LSU?
I mean, the most dangerous team in the country,
Really?
In my opinion. Yeah, I mean, look around. I mean, you look at Georgia right now and go back to the Missouri game. Georgia's a great football team. We know that. Well, what's always hurt Georgia in the past? It's a guy who can be a mobile quarterback, extend the play, get outside the pocket, let things break down in the secondary. And you go back, I think this is a huge game for growing for Tommy Rees. I mean, it's your 5th year being a coordinator. It shouldn't take you this long to know that Milroe needs to run the football, all right? I mean, 20 carries. I mean, this is more than he's seen the entire year. And it's not only that. It's not only the design plays, the RPOs, but I look at him, this is the most comfortable he's looked in the pocket.
Look natural.
Confidence, right? It looked like he wasn't going out there scared to make a mistake. It looked like he was going out there to play football. And an Alabama team like this, trust me, I had him going 11-1 this year, and I questioned that a lot, walking, especially after that Texas game. But it's amazing how defense travels. And we said this during the week. If you held LSU under 30 points, you had to feel really good if you're Alabama in this football game. And the offense is just slowly coming along. And to be honest with you, if you're an LSU fan, your team, your defense is the get-right team this year. All right, they are. Unless you're Army, anytime you go against this LSU defense, you're going to put points up on the board. And this is just another stepping stone for this Alabama team. You got Kentucky, then you got Auburn, then you're going to walk into a Georgia in the SEC championship. And we'll see if Brock Bowers is there. Because without Brock Bowers, man, this game will be a hell lot more interesting just from a spread standpoint, a total point standpoint of what defense is Kirby going to do to game plan against Milroe. That's what I'm most interested to see.
Yeah, well, I think, again, if Milroe's running, that there's only so much that you can do, and we're going to get in and break down more of this Alabama-LSU game. I want to talk about this Dallas-Turner hit as well. But make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Really appreciate you guys joining us. We have live calls opening up at 7:15 a.m. Central. That's 8:15 a.m. Eastern, and got a lot to get to. But you got places to get to. Tailgates, right? Dinner, things like that. You want to make sure that you are using the best meat available because you do have a lot at stake this November. Yes, that is a meat joke.
Well done.
All right, so don't be a chicken. There's another one. And shop at the grocery store like usual. Instead, head over to Good Ranchers. All right, and again, we've had Good Ranchers as a sponsor for a long time. Their product, I'm telling you, there is a huge difference when you throw that meat on the grill, when you throw it in the oven, however you're cooking it, whether it's chicken, whether it's beef, whether it's seafood, whether it's pork. Good Ranchers, it's absolutely the move. Also, they have their Black Friday Your Way sale is alive, something you don't want to miss. Then this November, you get to pick your favorite meat to get for free all year between steak, salmon, chicken, or bacon when you subscribe to any box right now. Better yet, when you subscribe to any box on goodranchers.com, you not only get the free gift of meat worth up to $480, but you also get $15 off with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. So claim your year of free meat, $15 off, and free shipping with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, at goodranchers.com. Good Ranchers is the #1 place to get all-American beef, pork, chicken, and seafood. That's promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, at goodranchers.com. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered. Also, we're going to put a link for our merch in the chat. It's a great way to help out the show. We got some brand new stuff we're unveiling this week. It's almost here. We're really, really excited. We hinted at it at the Booster Club tailgate, but we still got a little bit left in the shop. Easiest way for us to get new stuff in there is if you buy the stuff at the shop. Candles, all type of stuff. And like I said, we got new stuff coming, but really excited about that. Let's get to the Booster Club quick.
All right, let's go to Adam Robinson. What's up, Adam? Hashtag Ask Crane & Company. Can it be possible that LSU's defense is that bad to make Alabama's offense look that good?
Look, LSU's defense is not good. Nobody is accusing them of that. But if you watch schematically, if you watch the decision-making of Jalen Milroe, to me, that takes precedence over how talented or not talented the defense is. It's one thing to not be able to stop somebody that's been running what they've been running. But Alabama made a conscious effort, and I know why, because LSU has the best offense in the country. They knew they were going to have to score points. I think at some point they just let it go and said, listen, we can't protect Jalen Milroe in this game. We may have to score 60 to win. And that's not a knock on Alabama's defense. You saw Jaden Daniels and LSU's offense when they were in there. They were moving the ball. It was 21-21 at halftime. This was going to be a high-scoring game. They could not leave any stone unturned. But when you look at the amount of RPO, when you look at the zone read, when you look at the clock in the head of Jalen Milroe in the pocket, how many times this year have we seen him stay? It's almost like there's a voice in his head. Like, I don't know, somebody at practice was like, listen, you've got to stay in the pocket. You've got to be able to throw from the pocket. You only escape when you have to because you've got to be healthy and we've got to keep you here because we've got nobody behind you. Now, they probably didn't phrase it exactly like that, but I think deep down he knows that. That was a totally different style of offense than I've seen Alabama play the whole season. David.
Or leaving
totally
the
different.
pocket too quickly. That was something really early in the season. One read, the first progression isn't there. He would try and take off out of the pocket then. It's been choppy back and forth. It's a young guy trying to figure out how to play quarterback, right? It's a young guy who knows what his skill set is, but also is like, hey, I can throw the football down the field. I just need reps. I need reps to be able to do that. And you've seen him get better each and every week. A large part of this success, of course, is the LSU defense. I don't think these type of numbers exist this past weekend if they had played Georgia, right? But you have a young guy starting to figure it out who has weapons not only with his legs but also with his arms, and they're just going to be a tough out. The defense already made them a tough out, right, every week. Now, you're talking about Jalen Milroe figuring things out. Alabama's going to be tough to beat. Who wants to play him right now?
No, it's because you can't go back.
Who wants to play
if you're Bama offensively, you can't go back. You can't go to Kentucky and be like, all right, guys, here we go. Let's get in the eye for him.
Yeah.
Here, don't run, Jalen, don't run. Now, you've shown it. You showed everybody the goods. You played a game of show and tell. Now you know you can't put it back. And that had to be so much fun to play on that field offensively with what Jalen was doing. I mean, you saw how much fun the Alabama players were having on offense.
All right, let's go to Eddie. He wants to know, does Alabama have a clearer path to the college football playoff than Texas? I say yes.
If both of them, it depends on what happens around, right? If we're going to sit here and play the game of, all right, a Big Ten team's going undefeated, whether that be Michigan or Ohio State. Let's say Florida State goes undefeated, okay, and let's say Washington goes undefeated. Well, if Bama and Texas both win out, you can't put Bama in.
That'd be a tough scenario.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a tough scenario to me. I feel like the work's done for you.
You're right.
The tougher one is if Texas loses, and you have three teams. You say, or if you have Michigan, let's say Michigan goes undefeated. Let's say Florida State goes undefeated. Let's say that Texas wins out. And let's say you have a one-loss Pac-12 champion. Well, Michigan's in. Florida State's in. Texas is going to have the head-to-head against Alabama. They're in.
Mm-hmm.
Now it comes down to Oregon and Alabama or Washington and Alabama.
Or even like in that scenario, since you said Michigan won, a Buckeye team that was on the outside of the conference championship with one loss, whose only loss would be on the road. That's what it would come down to. And I think in that scenario, Alabama would also get in with one loss being the SEC champion.
Again, it could get real wonky down the stretch.
I was going to woo pig bold. Hashtag ask Crane & Company. Did Milroe just play himself into the Heisman conversation?
I think the conversation, I think the same way that Carson Beck has kind of played himself into the Heisman. Now, when we say conversation, we have to make sure that that's not
I'm in the Heisman conversation.
The leading conversation, right?
But
let's be honest, there's a path where Jalen Milroe could possibly win it. He needs a lot of help. Michael Penix is obviously in the driver's seat. I think Bo Nix is right there. I think Jaden Daniels going out of that game is really sad with the way that he was playing. I'm going to get into the Dallas Turner hit because I think there's a lot of overreaction there. But in the conversation, yes. First one through the door, second one through the door, third one through the door, fourth one through the door? No, not yet. But he's hanging outside on the lawn.
Doesn't it just feel like Bo Nix is going to win the Heisman? Doesn't it just feel like that?
To me, it feels like the Heisman could come down to the Pac-12 championship game.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like. Because right now, Michael Penix is, especially what he did against USC.
So go ahead and talk about your thoughts on the Dallas Turner hit then.
Well, I don't think it was dirty. Like, I don't think it was malicious. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to go hit Jaden Daniels right in the face and try and take him out of the game. I think Dallas Turner did what every defender typically does, even with the new rules when the quarterback is protected, especially in the NFL when he's basically bubble boy. He got a chance to take a big shot on the quarterback, missed a little bit high. I think it was targeting. All right, I do think it was targeting. I think it should have been a 15-yard penalty, and I think he should have been ejected from the game. But not because he's a dirty player. Not because he's a malicious player. And I see people on social media say, oh, look how dirty Alabama is. And then all of a sudden, right underneath it, you see a clip of one of their players doing the exact same thing. Guys get reputations, right? There are some guys that we know are dirty. Ndamukong Suh, dirty player. You want to know how I know he's a dirty player? He's stomping on people. I mean, he's shown you over and over again. Dallas Turner has given me no reason to think, and I know he's well coached. I know Nick Saban isn't over there telling him, go hurt the quarterback. Now, it worked out that it obviously helps when you hurt the best offensive player in the country, in my opinion, in Jaden Daniels, on the best offense in the country. But I don't think Dallas Turner went into that play and said, oh boy, here we go. Now I get a chance to take Jaden Daniels out of the game. What I think is he said, I finally get a chance to square Jaden Daniels up. All game, Jaden Daniels has run around us like we're not even there. You saw it and I saw it. So when you get your chances to hit him, you hit him. That's part of the game of football. I think we've gotten so lulled to sleep with the new rules of you can't hit him here and you can't hit him here and you can't touch him here that we forgot how fast these guys are moving, how hard it is to square these guys up, and that when you get an opportunity to hit the quarterback, whether that be legally right after a throw, whether that be when he's scrambling legally, or whether that be to block him on an interception when you're running it back, you take that chance. I think there was a lot of overreaction because it took LSU's best chance away to win the game. And I understand people being frustrated. And I agree it was a penalty. But it was a penalty because it was where he hit him, not the intent of him hitting him there, if that makes sense. I don't think it was a dirty play.
This is the result of recruiting the best defensive players in the country. Sometimes they hit the opposing quarterback really hard, and sometimes they get knocked out of the game. We've seen them do this against Texas a couple times, now against LSU. I don't know. When I was playing football, which I know I'm getting older and older, but to me it doesn't seem like that long ago, this is a football hit. We're out here playing football, so I don't know about like where we see this and we're like, oh, this is targeting and a guy should be removed from the game. You saw the opposing quarterback, Jaden Daniels, scramble for 168 yards on the day. He's throwing for over 200 yards. Like he's the reason that LSU is. He's killing you. He's crushing you. You have to take your chances to hit him. This wasn't like he was 3 steps out of bounds and you took a cheap shot on the guy.
Yeah.
That's when you start talking to me about getting thrown out of a football game. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think this is less about Dallas Turner, more how this stuff gets officiated. I think in college you have a lot more leeway to go hit a quarterback.
You do.
Right? You do. And then you get into the NFL, if you breathe on a kid, I mean, I watched the Commanders.
The Commanders? Oh,
play
on Mac Jones?
on a
Oh,
regular
God, that was
tag.
an awful call.
Like, we're setting these kids up for failure in the NFL if we're not doing the right thing in college. That's the one thing I'll never understand. Discrepancies in play and penalties in the NFL and college are so different. We need to start treating it the same so these guys are almost vetted when they get to the NFL and they know how to sack a quarterback. Was it targeting on Dallas Turner? I guess. Yeah, it was. I mean, if anything, I would say less targeting, more of the body weight rule.
That
Right?
I could get on board.
More the body weight rule. I'm fine with that. I get it. But we have to start treating these kids, and they're all not going to make the NFL. I guarantee that guy who just tackled Jaden Daniels
He's going to be
Dallas
in the NFL.
Turner. We have to start treating it the same so we can get some basis of consistency when it comes to officiating. That's what I would say.
Well, to me, it did meet the criteria if we're going to go by the rule, whether you agree with the rule or not. If we're going to call roughing the passer and stuff when a guy's hand hits the quarterback's helmet, not even knocks him down, when it hits his helmet, if you launch, which I think Dallas Turner launched up, right? I think it was helmet to helmet pretty much.
Did he
right?
get his helmet, though?
He got underneath it. But what I'm saying is if we're going to call when you graze their helmet with your hand, if there's any contact of your helmet hitting their helmet underneath and going up especially, then it needs to be called. As a defensive guy, do I want that called? Hell no. I don't care what team it is, right? But if we're going to go by the letter of the law, it was targeting, but it wasn't this malicious act. This man isn't the Joker. He's not Harvey Dent. He's not out here trying to blow Gotham City up. He made a play on the quarterback, and he has no reputation of being a dirty player. I understand when you lose, you want to find a reason for why you lost. That is the natural progression of things, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, or whether it's fans. That was just an unfortunate action that happened in a very fast, very physical, very professional, athlete-driven football game in T-Town. All right, one more. We got to move.
All right, let's go to Shane Bentley with a $10 donation. Shane, thank you, sir. Great show as always, guys. Looking forward to UGA taking on Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Random fact, Ole Miss is the last SEC team Kirby hasn't beaten. I'm sure that will be
They haven't played.
for Saturday's matchup.
First off, Shane, thanks. Second off, I want to make sure and give Lane Kiffin his flowers, too, now. I know we're going to get into this. Well, what's been the knock on Lane Kiffin, right? You win some big games or you look good early in the year and you always lose a couple that you shouldn't. This Ole Miss team, and I think, it's amazing. I don't hear a lot of people making fun of Pete Golding now.
Mm-hmm.
When he was at Bama, you'd have thought he was, that John Dillinger running around the city robbing banks, costing people money, giving up 19-something points a game. What they've done at Ole Miss, the balance that Ole Miss has achieved, that's why. They're not just a heavy offensive team that just tries to outscore you like LSU is this year, right? They're not a team that is overloaded on defense and can't score, or all they can do is throw the ball. This is a complete team at Ole Miss. I am so interested in the slate this weekend to watch them play Georgia. Another great opportunity for both teams, right? Because if Ole Miss loses this game, Alabama wins the SEC West.
Yeah.
If Alabama beats Kentucky, Alabama wins the SEC West because they hold the tiebreaker over Ole Miss. So it's a must-win for Ole Miss if they want a chance to win the division. But if they go to Georgia and lose, there's nobody in Oxford that should have their head down. I've been very impressed with Lane Kiffin being able to achieve that balance when so many people believed, hey, this guy's just basically Lincoln Riley, man.
Well, when the news broke last Thanksgiving that Lane Kiffin was going to take the Auburn job and he already had one foot out the door, regardless of what was true or what wasn't true, the perception was that affected them in the Egg Bowl when Mississippi State won that game. And it was like the back half of that schedule, after starting so hot, it's like you just completely fell apart. I think that lit a fire under Lane Kiffin, and you can see that this season where your only loss so far is at Alabama. And like you said, hey, go take your best shot against Georgia, the number one team in the
country. Play free, play loose, man.
So far they've been punching above their weight. They've been winning the games they're supposed to win and winning some of those that they're slightly underdogs in. The rushing attack, Quinshon Judkins is elite. They got a solid answer at quarterback. One of the deepest quarterback rooms in the country too, to be honest. So it's good to see. I like seeing this from Lane.
Definitely, and it is a loaded slate this weekend. We're going to have all these games previewed. We're going to take our early bets tomorrow. But speaking about Lincoln Riley, David, there's some news out in USC after they lost to UW.
So USC fell out of the top 25 poll for the first
Tim Brando
time.
called it. Tim Brando came on our show before the year and called USC's not a top 25 team.
And they fell out for the first time in the Lincoln Riley era. But the bigger news, and we've been talking about the defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, who came with Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. He has now been fired, relieved of his duties. That defense was giving up 34.5 points per game this season and was in the bottom 30 in the country in nearly every statistical category, including 120th in rushing defense and 107th against the pass. And against Washington this weekend, we know Michael Penix Jr. can light you up through the air. Washington rushed for 316.
Yeah, this wasn't just about Washington. Washington's been, dicing a lot of people up this year. They're basically a sous chef when it comes down to offense. You never like to see anybody get fired, right?
Yeah.
In this profession, guys put their heart and soul in this. They spend a lot of time away from their family. They do get paid very handsomely. And Alex Grinch is not going to be broke after this. He's not going to be holding up a cardboard sign out there, by Compton, just asking for, food and a little bit of change here and there.
Right.
I saw a couple people say, well, man, Alex Grinch was such a good DC before he went with Lincoln Riley. Is it Lincoln Riley's fault?
Was he? He was with the Buckeyes in 2018.
Yeah, I know they're buddies, right? And if you can't recruit good, talented players defensively at Oklahoma, and then you go to USC and it still doesn't work, that's on you, right? Now, it all falls back on Lincoln Riley. You're the head coach. You're responsible for the hires that you make. But there's an old saying in coaching, friends get you fired. That's a lot of guys, especially that are new head coaches, what's the first thing they want to do? They want to go out and hire all their buddies. Because you think, man, when I'm the head coach and I can bring in all these guys that I trust and then I know they know what they can do and it'll be a great time. We'll stay late at the office, breaking stuff down, and we're all buddies and go over to each other's houses and cook dinner and talk about it. And it sounds great off the cuff. But a lot of times with friends, it's hard to make those decisions or really get down to the bottom of things and for lack of a better term, be an ass when you have to be an ass in this business. Not that you never hire any guys that's a buddy of yours, but you can't, especially at all important positions, or if somebody is struggling at one of the most important coaching positions, which is defensive coordinator, the friend stuff gets left at the door, right? Because you have to win. You're paid to win. What puts food on your family's table? You winning. And you owe it to the players. You owe it to the guys that you're asking to run full speed into other full-grown men on a consistent basis to put them in the best position to win. Alex Grinch should have been fired a while ago. In my opinion, he should not have been brought to USC with Lincoln Riley. I think Lincoln Riley messed up there. I think he had an out to be able to do it, and he didn't do it because they're buddies. USC lost against Washington, but I think this was a big win for USC this weekend moving forward, and kudos to Lincoln Riley, even though it is a day late and $1 short, you did make the move. Now the question becomes, I know you have an interim now, I believe it's the DB coach. But do you go try and grab a guy now, which I don't think they'll do, especially now that you're pretty much out of it this year. If I'm LSU or I'm USC, and I know LSU hasn't fired Matt House, I'm waiting to see what happens at Baylor. That's what I'm doing. Because if I can get Dave Aranda, that solves a lot of problems very, very quickly.
Well, what's been going on with Dave Aranda and their defense? I mean, they haven't been the same for years.
Man, they've fallen off a cliff. But here's the thing. Dave Aranda is the head coach, right? When you're the coordinator, you can really narrow your focus. They're two totally different jobs. It's one thing to deal with one side of the ball only. It's another, and be able to do the meetings and have your hands all over it. When you're the head coach, you have so much outside of just being in the meetings and game planning. There's fundraising. There's the media. It is a totally different job. I'll be interested to see what USC does, but there's another guy out there too who I've talked about a lot in Jim Leonard. I mean,
that'd be great.
To me, if you're going to go get a guy right now, that's the guy to go get.
So Riley named D-line coach Sean Nua
That's
and
right.
linebackers coach Brian Odom as co-defensive coordinators for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they'll.
I mean, you never want to celebrate when a guy gets fired. That's not what we're doing. But if you're a USC fan, you got to be excited. I mean, it's been time.
Relieved.
You know who should be pissed the most? Is Oklahoma fans.
Oh,
You had to watch 5 years of this. And that's the only reason. The only reason y'all couldn't win playoff games, big games, is because of that defense. And look, a fair share of the blame needs to go to Lincoln Riley, for sure.
Yeah, he's the head
he
coach.
saw it. He watched it happen, right? He watched us get ran through. every time you played a big game against a big team with even a mediocre offense. But how do you get paid $1.8 million? Alex Grinch was making $1.8 million to be statistically one of the worst defenses in and out. That's like if we were getting paid $3 million each and we got 15 views a show. Yeah. 15 views a show. That's what it'd be like. The buddy stuff doesn't work, and sooner or later, proof's in the pudding. And I don't know, I don't understand, unless he has pictures of somebody, if he's friends with the president, he knows somebody in the dark sector.
He's like
I don't know.
Boy.
I don't know. But I just can't believe it has taken this long for someone, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, buddy, it's a duck.
But how did it get worse? Like, if this happened year one at USC and you're transitioning over from Oklahoma, I could have seen it a little bit more.
Lucky.
How did it? They still
the
won.
Turnover
Win 10 games
reason.
last year.
Yeah, turn it last
the
year.
only reason.
It got worse, and you have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen this movie with Lincoln Riley a lot. I'm very interested to see who they get. I'm interested to see stylistically how they change. I'm interested to see if Lincoln Riley, from an identity standpoint, maybe changes his approach a little bit, because I think Lincoln has a little bit to do with it. I think as far as team identity and things like that, maybe he does need to be more involved. I don't know. Sometimes you get these offensive guys that are head coaches that just deal with the offense that can kind of split the team. It can kind of divide the team. You know, we have two head coaches. One's the true head coach. The other one's the defensive coordinator because he's the only one that deals with the defense. Here at 7:15 with the line opens. That's Central Time. Going to get back to the Booster Club. Going to get to right and wrong from college football, but let's mix it up here a little bit, David. Let's go NFL.
Let's start with the divisional matchup with the Cowboys and the Eagles yesterday. Dak Prescott really played one of the better football games that I'd seen him play. 374 yards through the air. He was 29 of 44, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Did get sacked 5 times, but the Philadelphia Eagles, late in the game, did what they needed to win another ugly game. And despite everything, despite the Cowboys getting the ball down to the 5-yard line and the Eagles making mistake after mistake and not having any timeouts, the Cowboys out-mistaked them, pushed it back to the 20.
Dude.
Cowboys just couldn't get it done. We've seen the Eagles win these type of ugly games, but the Cowboys were playing with them. They moved to 5-3. Eagles now 8-1.
The last 4 minutes of that game was so ugly.
Insane.
I mean, you had A.J. Brown running into the running back. The Eagles fumbled up. They were lucky to recover that ball. Or they'd have given it to the Cowboys with a lot more time at the 30 going in. I was shocked because you see the Eagles typically don't beat themselves, right? The Eagles, pretty efficient. Jalen Hurts is smart with the ball, knows when to run, knows when to spit the ball out. They make big plays late in the game. You know, I can understand people today that are like, God, the Cowboys look like the better team. Like, you felt like the Cowboys kind of were the better team. But the Eagles find ways to win outside of the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. But, you know, what I found the most interesting yesterday when I was watching this game is I didn't feel, and I know the Cowboys have had a really good offensive line for a long time, but these guys are getting older. I didn't feel like the Eagles dominated in the front seven the way that I thought they were going to dominate. Now, I know they're beat up a little bit. This was a matchup of two real quality teams. I give Dak Prescott a lot of hell, and I think he deserves a lot of time. But yesterday, it looked a little bit like old Dak, escaping, breaking tackles. Yes. You go to that last touchdown he scored, and I just wish, because I think Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott may be the two most similar quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to skill set, size, and ability. I think they're both good throwers of the ball. I don't think they're elite throwers. I don't think Dak Prescott is an elite thrower. I think they are both heavy runners that are sneaky, right? That you don't realize how fast they are until they're by you. You don't realize that they're as quick twitch as they are, and they're very smart and efficient runners. Watching Dak Prescott score that touchdown late, or scramble on the 2-point conversion, I know he didn't get it because he stepped out, but watching him move around and break those tackles just reminded me of old Dak. And we talked about Jalen Milroe at the beginning. I just wish I could have seen the Cowboys not try and turn Dak Prescott into Drew Brees and treat him more like the Eagles treat Jalen Hurts, in where, hey, we're not afraid for you to run the ball. We don't want you to be a run-first guy, but you need to understand how important your running ability is. And in crucial situations, we are going to lean on that. Because in college at Mississippi State, dude, he was a devastating. And I know you're trying to keep guys healthy, but look at Jalen Hurts. there's a way to do it.
But he's younger. You would think this would be the time in Dak Prescott's career where he would be benefiting from that, being able to stay in the pocket more. It looked like last night he knew he was playing against Jalen Hurts. Like, this is a younger version of who gets compared to me. He's already made it to a Super Bowl. Felt like Dak had that sort of pressure and was trying to show out and really delivered for much of the game.
No, I think so too. Look, I think you give kudos to both teams in this game. I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan, even with the loss, you have to be happy about the way your team played. And look, you're going against a Super Bowl team in the Philadelphia Eagles who are starting to get healthy.
On the road.
Yeah, on the road too. So, I'm not worried about this as much if you're a Cowboys fan. Look, it just comes off to getting over the hump in the playoffs. That's what it is. And if you play like this, I think Micah Parsons needs to play a little bit better. Like the way the money you're getting paid, this defensive line. And look, I know the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in NFL. And you got to think Diggs is out for the Cowboys when you have a Pro Bowl corner who's not there. So the pieces are still there for the Cowboys. You just can't blow it when it matters. And I don't think they did in this game.
I think Micah Parsons hurt. I think
really
he's hurt. Man, I'm just he's been beat up in a couple games. You've seen him with his legs and his feet. Nobody's 100%. You're not 100% after birth. I don't know. It just feels like he's hurt.
Yeah, we're going to keep track of that. Vikings 31-28 over the Falcons. Man, this game was insane. Jaren Hall gets the start at quarterback, goes out with a concussion. Josh Dobbs, who's been there since Tuesday from the Cardinals, ends up coming into the game, goes 20 of 30, 158 yards through there, 2 TDs, no interceptions. He did have a couple fumbles early there in the safety. Things weren't looking good. On the Atlanta side, Taylor Heineke gets the start at quarterback. The game goes back and forth, and Josh Dobbs gets the first fourth quarter come from behind win.
Yeah, first thing, I love to see when good things happen to good people. Yeah. I'm a big Josh Dobbs fan. I think he does it the right way. I think he handles himself and carries himself as a journeyman. He's also a genius, by the way, if you don't know. I mean, he should be in a spaceship right now, or in a shuttle, up at the getting into the space station right now. The Falcons defensively are so unathletic at linebacker, it makes you want to throw up. Like the two white guys they got at linebacker, let's be honest. Ellison and the other can't play. If you can't, they looked so goofy chasing Josh Dobbs. And look, Josh Dobbs athletic. Nobody is questioning. If you watch Josh Dobbs play at Tennessee, he made Butch Jones look competent. Okay, so that's how good Josh Dobbs is. And I thought what he said. They asked Josh Dobbs what it was like going to the Vikings that quickly and then having to play. Because if Jaren Hall doesn't get hurt, Vikings lose that game. Probably by double digits, in my opinion. Not that I think Jaren Hall's the worst player. He's just not ready. Right? I think you could see that early. Ended up being the best thing that happened to the Vikings, him getting hurt. You never want to see anybody get hurt. But Josh Dobbs said, listening in the helmet to the play calls was like studying for a month to take an AP German final. Showing up to the test, and it's AP French. Like that's what it was like talking to him. Because, I mean, think about it. A lot of it is terminology, right? Everybody does things different, but there's a lot of similar concepts, right? Especially in the NFL. There's a reason it's called pro-style offense. But the terminology is different.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. That's what he's talking about. It's not that, hey, I don't know what this concept is. It's I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call the check to it.
He doesn't know people's names in the huddle.
No, like it's
Tuesday.
It was one of the most impressive. Just to be able to operate, and a lot of it was one read and I'm out. Because he's smart. So I don't know what we're doing on the backside of this. Not only do I have to diagnose what they're doing pre-snap, what they're doing mid-snap, I don't know what the hell that we're doing. The fact that the ball handling, right? Where to be, how to hand the ball, where to hand the ball off, like the depth and things like that. It was a master class in improvisation. I have not seen improv that good since Ron Stiles.
4 straight wins for the Vikings after starting 1-4.
Watch out.
How do you get beat by a guy who's taking 0 practice reps the entire time?
0, Blaine.
You're an
0.
You're an NFL team. How's that happen? I'm not like I'll sit here. Just someone give me a logical explanation. Look, Josh Dobbs is a great player, but he's not the best thing since water. It's still Josh Dobbs, right? And another question I have is Bijan Robinson going to play football?
You know what I think they're doing? I think they're taking the load off Bijan because they know they're not ready. I think they know they're about to fire their coach.
You think so?
I think they're going to fire him.
When are they going to be ready?
Well, why would you give Bijan 25 carries?
But the coaching staff determines how many carries he would get, right? So
yes,
unless the general manager is forcing them.
Yes, but the way it works, the channels that go through, it's not the president or the GM saying, listen, we're going to fire you, coach, so I don't need you to hand the ball off to Bijan Robinson. I think what they're saying is, hey, listen, what Arthur Smith and those guys are saying, hey, we're a year away, we're a couple years away. We're right. They don't believe in Desmond Ridder anymore. Taylor Heineke's not the long-term answer. So maybe the coaching staff's thinking, well, if the guys in the front office know that we're not going to hand the ball to our best player, it's going to be hard to fire me. So why don't we wait until we get a quarterback in here that we like, that we trust, and then all chips will be on the table. When in reality, probably up in the front office, they're like, hey, we're going to fire the head coach, bring in a new head coach, get us a new quarterback. That's when Pete's on defense, and it'll be fresh start for Breeze Brothers. Prime.
Arthur Smith, I mean,
Prime.
What's that head coach for the Falcons?
Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith can't be that dumb. There's no way. There's no way he's
well, I don't think
there's no way he's like, yeah, look, they're telling me not to run Bijan. We're not going to win any games. They're definitely going to keep me here next year.
No.
There's no way.
You have a built-in excuse. We didn't use our best player because we were trying to bide our time to get ready. I think you can have it. This is chess, not checkers. It's not as easy as, you know what? We're just not going to give him the ball because we're going to fire Arthur Smith, and you know it, I know, and everybody else knows it. You can't operate like that. You can't live in that world, front office to head coach. But guess what? If you're Arthur Smith, doesn't matter. Your dad started FedEx. I would go for every fourth down.
But here's the thing. You're still 4-5. You're the Falcons.
Yeah.
You're still 4-5 with the Saints leading the division at 5-4.
Yeah,
Saints are plenty.
You have
beatable.
a chance.
Like, that division is not great. Bucks just lost. Panthers aren't winning anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you seen yourself? You've lost 2 in a row. You lost to the Titans with a brand new quarterback. You lost to the Vikings with a quarterback that hasn't even been there. You go lose at the Cardinals, they're going to fire you.
Yeah.
Like, you go lose to the Cardinals.
You should probably play Bijan Robinson then.
So so then you have the Saints next, right? Then you go to the Jets. Then you got the Bucks. Then at the Panthers. There's some winnable games on here. There's some winnable games. But I don't think they want to go into the new regime and Arthur Blank, who, who knows? Arthur Blank may be best friends with the FedEx guy. That's typically how this works. I don't know. Speaking about buddy, this could be an Alex Grinch, but the head coach to owner situation. I just feel like there's something going on where they don't want to give Bijan 25 carries a game right now with the team that they have. Because what do you do? What are you going to do if you make the playoffs with the Falcons?
Yeah, and that's
you going to go win it?
You still have the Saints twice. You get them at home first, which that's good, create some momentum. I mean, if you win the division and make the playoffs, it's going to be tough to fire that guy.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think, who knows, they may lose to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But you get enough wins. I mean, what quarterback are you going to roll in here that's going to be off the charts, going to fix everything?
It's the deepest class we've seen.
Trade and do things like that. We'll see.
We'll see.
Okay.
But hey, what do you think about Chiefs Dolphins in Germany?
First of all, stop playing games overseas in the morning time. All right, this afternoon. If y'all want to play it over there, still start at the same time so that I can watch it.
Yeah. This is our game.
Yeah.
You start when we start.
I don't know what's going on with the Chiefs on offense. People talk about the lack of receivers that they have, but I just watched them win the Super Bowl after they traded Tyreek Hill. It's the defense that's coming along so great.
See, if I'm in the NFL, I'm horrified right now.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
I am horrified right now watching the Chiefs. But because Patrick Mahomes' offense isn't going to struggle like this the whole year. It means they're going to peak at the right time. And then everybody's in trouble. Especially the defense keeps playing like this. The Chiefs winning games on defense is horrifying. Shutting out the Dolphins in the first half, horrifying. I don't care if that game's played in Germany. I don't care if it's played in Germantown. I don't care if it's played on Pluto. It's horrifying. But 2 things. 1, Blaine, you had a great point. The Germans need to see this.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all need to understand.
I want you to look at Chris Jones in the eyes.
Yeah. And then
feel free to say anything to me ever.
Yeah. It's exactly right. I want you to watch Nick Bolton run around and then try and go to NATO and talk any type of ish.
Nick's not playing.
All right. No, I'm talking about just in general.
Okay.
Like just the athletes run around. Y'all need to see this. Okay. I want y'all to see how fast Tyreek Hill is. And then I want you to say anything to me. Second thing, we don't need to play regular season games over there. It needs to be preseason games that are played over there. That's what we need to do, because guess what? They don't know any different. They go out and see preseason NFL players, right? You see the real ones for a quarter, the rest of them, they still think it's great. What do you mean? You don't need Patrick Mahomes for 4 quarters over there. You need him for 2 drives, right? Give him a little taste. Give him a little something. You don't want to give him the whole thing early. I love that it's growing the game. I want everybody to love football like I do, right? I want it to be played in the Olympics, not flag football, but real football. I just don't like the regular season games over there. I feel like the regular season should be played over here. They should be preseason games or the Hall of Fame game or something. But I'm glad the Germans saw this.
I believe in the Dolphins less and less each week that passes, right? The closer we get to January, where those defenses, you have to go on the road. They're going to have to go on the road and win, I think, win a playoff game. Maybe they get up 1 home field game in the wild card.
No, they're going to have to
What
go
good team have they beaten?
Yeah, I mean, with the Ravens coming on strong in the AFC, with the Bengals coming on now, big win last night over the Bills.
Healthy Joey B.
You know, that game against the Seahawks, remember when they were 2-3, and I said, if the Bengals win this one, they'll move to 3-3 or they'll move to 2-4. Which one's it going to be? They hadn't lost since then. Bengals figuring it out. The Chiefs, obviously, defending Super Bowl champs.
Was it weird?
AFC.
Let me ask you, was it weird hearing penalties in German? Like
No, I couldn't hear it.
Like that full start.
See, I had
Like
red
they were doing
zone.
penalties in German. Like for some reason,
Is that
every
what
time
they were
happened,
saying?
like there was just a more American like clothes that got on me every time I heard of penalty in German.
Yeah, I just
Didn't
get
feel
closer
right.
to the flag.
Just didn't feel right at all. I just didn't like it at all. Like I almost went to a European country when it happened and started settling things.
Yeah, well, we're about, it's about to the point in our lives as, American
gotta go
men
die
that
in a European
we
country.
go over to a European country.
Last
to get
one
shot.
here, Houston Texans 39-37 over the Tampa Bay Bucks in
C.J.
an
Stroud.
absolute shootout. C.J. Stroud breaking the rookie record for passing yards, 470. He was 30 of 42, 5 touchdowns, no picks. If only there was a group of guys who sat up here and told NFL GMs, don't take the C.J. Stroud is a bust talk.
What test was it?
Yeah,
The S2
the
cognitive
Wonderlic.
test. But he didn't do well in his cognitive test.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah. He's not gonna be a good player.
Yeah, no, David, I got to give you props. You had a whole get off my lawn on this. C.J. Stroud's incredible. I do think he does have more weapons than Bryce Young, right? I do think it's unfair to sit here and say that Bryce Young is we should have got C.J. Stroud. You've got to give Bryce some time, and he's got to get some more weapons around him. But C.J. Stroud right now is operating, and it's not just the physical ability. It's not just the arm strength. He's on time. The game doesn't seem too fast for him. Typically with young quarterbacks and young players in general, you move up a level, the game is faster. It takes a while for it to slow down. C.J. Stroud, I mean, whether it's even just throwing the check down, whether it's keeping the play alive and throwing the ball away, he looks like a refined NFL quarterback, and we're deep enough in the season now where the book's been out on CJ for a while. It's not like teams don't know what he's capable of, or there's still a lot of questions, or how good does he run, or his decision-making, but just the guts and the gusto. And I'll tell you this, I like the way he handles himself. He is a very, very mature player. It shows you why he was the only quarterback, really, that was able to dice Georgia up and give them a chance to win last year. You see why now. I mean, this dude is a legit star. And DeMeco Ryans is a star in the making as a head coach.
Well, it's not only C.J. Stroud, but you look at all the young talent they got running around that offense. I mean, you got Tank Dell, you got Damian Pierce, you got Nico Collins, you got a couple good young players up front. The Texans are building for the future, and the future looks extremely promising. And hell, you better watch out for them this year too.
Yeah.
'Cause if they get going, I mean, that offense is one of the best in the league now. And they're creative. They're creative the way they do things. Their play action game's phenomenal.
What did we say after we left the Senior Bowl with Jim Nagy last year? This Tank Dell kid out of Houston, you can't cover him. You can't cover him.
He caught the 2 passes down the stretch there to win the game.
Him and Zay Flowers are so unbelievably quick, but watching Tank Dell take a speed sweep, it's Olympic speed. It's Olympic speed. He is absolutely flying. But it was a great day of football yesterday, and we get to bets. I'm gonna tell you about my wife hitting the 7-leg anytime touchdown parlay. I can't believe it. All right, the phone lines are open. We're gonna get to them in a second. We got to get to right or wrong. But speaking about hearing, whether it's in German, whether it's in English, almost said American, whether it's in Spanish, our friends over at Raycon, all right, they have got you absolutely covered. It's never too early to start your holiday shopping. I mean, we're in November, right? You better put the work in. I'm doing it for my wife for Christmas. I'm trying to get out ahead of this thing, right? Stay on schedule, stay ahead of the change, especially when you get some of the best deals of the season well before Black Friday. You can shop Raycon products right now and save up to 50% off on their early Black Friday sale. You've heard us talk about Raycon's products before, and we love them. Let's show them that box right there. They made a name for themselves in the audio space with products like their everyday earbuds, high quality and thoughtful features, 32-hour battery life, perfect in-ear fit for all-day wear and lasting comfort. They expanded their entire business this past year with the introduction of their faucet filter. It ultra filters the water in your tap against chlorine and heavy metals. I'm just telling you, Raycon, they do everything, man, and they do it really, really well. We listen to these all the way since we got them last year. When we go out to Power Stop in Vegas, we're listening to them on the plane. They are doing an incredible job of expanding, so you need to hurry now to buyraycon.com. That's BYUYRAYCON.com/booster to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. I'm telling you, this helps us. It helps you. It's a great way to go and get that early work for your Christmas shopping. That's buy Raycon, not Raycom, Raycon. Buy raycon.com/booster to score 50% off Raycon products. Buy raycon.com/booster. Trust me, we ain't lying to y'all. It's unbelievable products, great earbuds. It'll help filter your water. Hell, who knows what you can find on there, but I guarantee you whatever you find, it's a fantastic product. All right, we're going to get to right or wrong. Let's get to the Booster Club for a couple here, Blaine.
Let's go to Kyle. He says, you don't forget that Texas won this football game without a kicker. He did not bring that up.
Well, they did, but then they put him in and he hit the extra point.
The backup running back, was it Fairbairn got hurt?
Fairbairn got hurt.
The backup running back for the Texans came in and played kicker.
Yeah.
Kicked a couple kickoffs. Made a huge field goal.
Extra point, yeah.
No, he made a field goal as well.
Field goal.
Yeah, he made a field goal as well.
That's right.
The Texans usually went for 4th downs and went for 2s. Like
they took a knee. The Texans took a knee on that
on the 2-point conversion.
And if you had them minus 2.5.
But it was a smart play, though.
I know it was.
It
just was the right play.
Let's go to Justin Alferreri with a $2 donation. Justin, appreciate it, brother. He says, do you think the Falcons play dirty on defense?
No, I think they played poorly. That was awful yesterday. I got worse watching those guys run around. They made Josh Dobbs look like Usain Bolt or Tyreek Hill.
Let's go to Dakota Faulkner with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Deco. Pop us on Kyle 9 after this weekend, boys. Saw Shane Gillis live in Montgomery and attended the Bama and LSU game in all 3-day span. Also, how about them Tigers?
Dude.
Auburn Tigers.
Yeah. Big look. Handle business at Vandy, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was a home game, basically, which that's a story for another day with Vanderbilt and college football. Like, can I propose a trade? Can we get Tulane up in here? Get Tulane? I mean, look, they've got a historic baseball program, too, if you really look at it. But Vandy, I mean, it's a joke. Is it Clark Lee's going to look me in the eyes and say Vanderbilt's going to be one of the top programs in the country in medicine?
That's what he's supposed to say, though.
Yeah, I mean, but like, why? Again, though, like, I mean, if you're Paul Blart, you're not saying he's RoboCop. Like, just say, hey,
not.
You know?
You seen him on that Segway?
Huh?
The boy's moving.
Make sure he has a lollipop.
Let's go to Jacob Shockley. He says, will Oklahoma State win the Big 12?
Great segue into right or wrong.
Good.
Great segue into right or wrong right there.
Who's taking Oklahoma? You were going to take it, right?
Yeah, we doing wrong or right first?
Let's go right.
Okay, not a lot of things I was right about this weekend, boys, but there's one thing. Give me Sam Pittman in the Razorbacks, baby.
Oh.
I came out and picked Arkansas to win this game. It felt like a game Billy Napier and them were going to lose. And like Arkansas, is this? And you kind of brought this up on the live stream, which I thought it was a phenomenal point. Was this the worst thing that could happen for Arkansas?
Look, and I know people say, wait, what do you mean? And listen, I'm the first one. I've been a big Sam Pittman guy. Mm-hmm. I love the fit, but I also, when I look at Arkansas, this is, again, it's like that relationship, right? Like there's that spark. You know, y'all are about to break up, but then, you remember the time that y'all got that dog together. Like the dog came back. It was lost for 2 weeks. Now it came back. Oh man, maybe we should stay together. Maybe we're meant to be together. I think this is delaying the inevitable. I think it's delaying the inevitable. Horrible loss for Billy Napier. Horrible loss. Mm-hmm. And I've backed Billy the whole time. That's an unacceptable loss for your Florida. But if you're an Arkansas fan, yeah, you want to win, right? But are you thinking short term? Are you thinking long term? Right? So long term, I don't know. Was this actually a bad thing to happen for Arkansas? As crazy as that sounds, I love winning more than anybody.
Yeah. But
it's just the truth. Where I was right, Clemson.
Nice pick.
They left him for dead after they lost to Florida State to go play Syracuse. Say what you want. We can make fun of Dabo, and we should for some of the stuff he says, right? Personally, I think everybody at Clemson owes Tyler from Spartanburg a thank you for getting them all gassed up and ready to play. But I think the culture at Clemson is really good. I don't think those guys quit on each other. I think one of the biggest strengths of Dabo is he is able to build a culture and build a team together that is together, that doesn't fracture when things go bad. Oh, Cade Klubnik should have handed the ball off. Oh, well, maybe we should get rid of him. He's a bad player. What I was more surprised in this game was how up and down it was. Mm-hmm. I thought this was going to be a kind of slower, not a ton of explosive plays, especially when Will Shipley was announced that he was out. But I felt like Clemson was too together as a team. And Notre Dame and Sam Hartman has shown you inconsistency, right? They play one way this week, and they play a totally different way the other week. Sam Hartman throws the pick six early. I feel like he was trying to force the action a lot. But Clemson, I think, and I want to give credit to Cade. I want to give credit to Dabo, but I want to give credit to the team culture that they've created, because that's what I think keeps you together in that locker room. Oh, circle of wagons, us against the world. They've done this multiple times. They've been left for dead multiple times. This doesn't erase all the stuff that's happened this year with Clemson. This doesn't make it a successful year for Clemson. But what it does is it shows you, I think, how tough that locker room is.
Sam Hartman, 13 of 30, 146, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, including the pick six you talked about, 39.6 QBR.
He got outplayed by Jack Plummer.
Clemson had 0 penalties?
Not good enough.
He had.
Did Clemson have
Clemson
0?
had 0 penalties in 4 quarters.
I knew that, like with 5
Damn.
minutes left, they had 0.
That's tough to do.
Yeah.
That's extremely hard to do.
Yeah, the refs didn't cost Notre Dame that game.
Yeah.
The Sam Hartman turned the ball over, cost them the game.
Yeah. All right, where I was
And
right.
defensively, they got
I'm going to take my dog picks again from last
Dude.
weekend. Arizona, Georgia Tech, Boston College, and then Oklahoma State. I know you're going to talk a little bit about Bedlam. What a win. We'll get into that in a second. But I'll focus in on Arizona here for a second. 6-3 now. You know, they beat UCLA. They beat them at home. Noah Fafita, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Arizona was able to rush for 129 against this UCLA defense. I mean, they're right here in the thick of things. Jed Fish out there is doing a great job. 6-3. You know, I mean, what more can you say about the way they've been playing these past 3 weeks? Beat Washington State on the road, beat Oregon State at home, and now beat UCLA. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 ranked wins. 3 ranked wins in a row. Sorry, 5 straight weeks of playing ranked teams.
You know who's the happiest about this? The Big 12. You're looking at Arizona, you're looking at trajectories, and I think even Arizona State with Dillingham, I know they got absolutely waxed by Utah, but this Arizona team right now is so well coached.
Yeah.
They're so well coached. They know who they are. They're not worried about who's coming into play. They're going to play their way, and they've done it with 2 quarterbacks, right? You know, we talked all week about, well, you know, there's a controversy because, you know, Jade DeLora, obviously we know who he is, and you look at Fafita and what he's doing. Right now, you got to ride the lightning because Arizona's playing as good as anybody right now, in my opinion, outside of the teams that are just so much more talented athletically that it'd be really hard for them to compete. But now, man, it's another great win for Jed Fish, who is starting to really, really put his name into some big circles. But if I'm him, why would I leave Arizona right now, going to the Big 12, unless there's just some big fish, you know, pun
money
intended, that comes again? Arizona's got money. Arizona can pay. Arizona can really pay. And I think going to the Big 12, you're going to see them make a move to keep Jed Fish. But if I'm somebody like Arkansas, I think, Blaine, you've brought this up. If I'm somebody like Michigan State, if I'm somebody that you know, and there's more that are going to happen down the pipe, coaches are going to start getting fired here soon. Jed Fish is a name that I would have on that list.
If there's one school we need to look at, I mean, I'd probably put North Carolina up there as well.
If Mac retires.
I think he'd be a really good fit at UNC.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad.
I really think so. Quickly, I know we don't have much time here. What I was wrong about Oklahoma. You know, just sooner or later, I know you only gave up 27 points against the Oklahoma State team, but you gave up, I think, over 500 total yards on defense. And I think Dylan Gabriel played a good game, had over 300 yards passing, you have over 100 yards rushing. Looks like the same Oklahoma team that can't tackle in space.
Reverting.
And sooner or later, I thought they would show up in big moments, but they didn't. Your championships for Big 12, it's over with. But I do think Brent Venables, with just the culture he's built there, even early in his career there at Oklahoma, they're going to still play hard, but bad loss. Ollie Gordon's the NFL running back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he can go start in the NFL right now.
Well, my thing is they're like, yeah, you know, Ollie Gordon, after like game 4, walked in, he had like 19 carries to the first 3 games, like walked into Mike Gundy's offense and was like, hey, man, I can help the offense.
I'm a man.
How do y'all not know that?
Yeah.
Like, how is this like,
I don't know.
like, wait, like all of a sudden this guy just turns out to be like one of the best running backs in the country? Like, how did you not? You know, I know players grow and they get better and they put in more effort and things like that, but you had to see flashes of this. Like, who did he piss off? Like, the Brent Venables, this, you know, fixing Oklahoma is still in the process of it. It's unfortunate to see them revert, but I want to make sure that we do give credit to Kansas, what they did the week before, because Kansas didn't make the plays. And then Oklahoma State. You know who Oklahoma State is. But I thought the receivers for Oklahoma State stepped up from the first drive. I saw that one-handed catch,
Rashad Owens.
like the 4th or 5th play, and I was like, all right,
You
Okay.
can see what the game plan was. It's like, let's get Ollie Gordon the football downhill, rush for over 500 yards the past 2 weeks. We knew about that. But then the play action RPO game off that to guys like Rashad Owens had 10 catches for 136 yards. And I talked all offseason about how this being the last edition of one of the best rivalry games in college football, it is going to be epic. And then Oklahoma State comes out and they're flat the first couple of weeks. They lose 33-6 or 7 against South Alabama. And I heard some Oklahoma fans calling in and sort of mocking the game. I'm like, that's the wrong approach to take here, because I don't care if Oklahoma State loses every game this season. They're going to play Oklahoma tough. And it just so happens they played them tough enough to win in the last edition of Bedlam before Oklahoma leaves the conference.
Definitely. All right, I do want to get to calls. We still got, Texas, I wish we had 3 hours. We got Texas A&M, Ole Miss. Texas survives against Kansas State in overtime. Was right about that. Sat here on the show and said I would not. Yeah. I don't think you'd be crazy to sprinkle some on Kansas State, Texas overtime. And then obviously you look at Georgia being able to hold on against Missouri. The game was a little bit more low scoring than I thought. Then Michael Penix in Washington. That game went exactly like how we thought it was. We did the live stream of Washington, USC, and LSU, Alabama. The overs in those games, it was borderline theft.
I'll say I was wrong about Michigan State and Nebraska. I thought Nebraska could go on the road and not only win, but also cover that. Huge win for a Michigan State program that's been reeling with all this Mel Tucker stuff. That's just a big win for the boys in East Lansing.
Yeah, that was just like, watching, two ugly people do a beauty pageant. That was a tough game to watch. tough to watch. All right, you ready to get the calls?
Let's do it. We got Ben in Missouri. Ben, what's going on?
Hey, I wish we had 3 hours too, because there always is never enough time to talk about anything. But I know that you guys can finish this sentence for me. Good teams win.
Great teams cover.
Yeah, they do.
Great teams cover. That's right, and that's exactly what Missouri did on Saturday, even though we lost the game. So I don't know. I'm kind of okay with it. I'm not okay with Brady throwing that interception to Mott Stick Stacy there to basically take the game.
I'll say this,
can't throw
Ben.
that ball.
Ben, you guys, and listen, I know Missouri, there are no moral victories in this thing, especially with the way that y'all have played this year. But if you're a Missouri fan, y'all were going punch for punch with Georgia for a while in that game. And eventually gravity kind of took over. We saw Luther Burden make the play early, right? I thought they were having a little bit more success on the ground than I thought they would. That's a tough place to play. But this Missouri team, this Missouri program with Eli Drinkowitz, it's only getting better. They're both coming back. Like Missouri next year, and you look at the way the schedule flips, I know it's going to be new with the new teams and no more, we still got divisions, but, I know it's going to be different. I'm sitting here looking at it, man, and if we're looking at trajectory and you're a Missouri fan sitting at home, it sucks to lose at Georgia, but man, you guys did not duck the smoke. Y'all did not, and they were ready to play. Like Georgia was ready to play. That wasn't last year Georgia's going to Missouri, nobody takes them seriously. This was, we know Missouri's for real. We have to play one of our best games, and it was still a fight. I was shocked the under hit, honestly.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. We were gashing Georgia on the ground. I'm like, man, if we just handed the ball off to Cody Schrader most of the game, we could have.
He's a sneaky good back, man.
Do you think that's a blueprint for other schools to kind of slow Georgia down enough, or is that just like Cody Schrader's so good and, other schools may not have a back like that?
Well, yeah. Look, the blueprint to beat Georgia is the way that Georgia beats people, with balance. That's the best way to beat somebody. I think it's a combination of things. I think Cody Schrader, while he may not be the most athletic running back of all time, is a super smart runner. I don't think he has any wasted movement. He knows exactly where to press it. But you got to give Missouri's offensive line credit too. They were, it's not just Cody Schrader out there making 11 guys miss. I thought they went toe-to-toe with him up front. So best way to fight fire is with fire. Best way to beat balance is with balance. But I'd be very proud if I was a Missouri fan of where this program's going.
Appreciate it, Ben.
No, and I thought it was good. I thought it was all right. It's just it sucks to lose that way, with Brady throwing that pick.
Yeah, you're right. Isn't it the best way to fight fire with water? Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be like the best way to fight fire? Probably with water, right? Am I
That's
wrong?
Got a really good point.
Am I wrong? I'm not.
That's a solid Blake
I'm
point.
like, it has to be, right?
I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Golly. You should write a book about it.
I did.
Maybe we should try it out.
I did.
Appreciate it, Ben.
Appreciate it, Ben.
You're on here for Blaine's unfiltered thoughts, and it can be a good time.
Yeah. Deep thoughts.
All right, let's go to Chase in California. Chase is from California. Chase, what's up?
Oh, good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, Chase.
Hey, Chase.
Pain and pain is me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, darkness, my
Brian,
old
David, I
friend.
apologize. Appreciate you guys putting your faith in us. Jake, tip of the cap, my friend. You had that one called
Thank you, sir.
to a T.
Yeah.
to a
Well,
T.
again, it was personal.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
It,
purse.
it was. It
personal.
was. So I have two questions for you guys. I have one about my NFL team, too. So I'll
Okay.
ask the question and I'll let you guys talk. So we'll start with the Sooners. There's obviously a bunch of things going on, and I'm not even going to approach the whole, trying to play the blame game, because we did that with Kansas, right? And as we saw, everybody can take blame for that. Just like Kansas, everybody can take blame for the Oklahoma State loss. It's not on one person. I will say that all the people blaming that PI call, Oklahoma had plenty of chances to win that game before the pass interference call. So it wasn't a blatantly missed call, yes, but it didn't change the outcome of the game, in my opinion. Oklahoma did that on their own. So,
No, yeah,
the one
I
thing
agree
I have
with
to
that.
ask you guys, though, is you guys talked about culture. Is it not alarming the level of regression this team has had since their biggest win of the season? I understand that they had a bye after, but it's insane the level of regression that they've had since the Texas game.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's gotten worse and worse every week. I mean, it's not, there was UCF, then there was Kansas, and then there was Oklahoma State. And like I said, I would progressively say it got worse and worse. I think they played worse against Oklahoma State than they did Kansas, but that's just my personal opinion. But do you guys think there's concern for that? Because I'm like you guys, right? I look at the culture and what Brent's building, and I'm liking it. I really like where we're headed in that culture direction, but then I see something like the last 4 weeks, and it makes me really worry, because I don't have to tell you guys about where we're going next year, and it can't look like this when we get there. It cannot look like this when we get there.
Yeah. Well, one of the hardest parts about culture is that I think sometimes, people fall in this trap of, culture is how you bounce back from a loss. When you're building culture, one of the hardest things is to get guys up after a big win, after it's going good. When everybody starts going, hey, great job, guys. Are you walking around campus? Hey, Oklahoma's back. Thanks to you. You guys are doing fantastic. Not that you get a big head, but sometimes guys relax. I used to worry, as coaching DBs, I would worry more about the next drive after one of my guys made an interception than if they got beat. Because if you get beat, there is no motivation. You're providing the own motivation. You got embarrassed. The hardest time to get somebody up to play is when it's going good, right? We always say soft times make soft men, right? Hard times make tough men. Tough times make tough men. I don't want to say it the other way. But it's hard to get guys when it's going good. It's hard to get them to play as well as they can in general. Probably 4 to 5 times a year, you're going to get them to play at max efficiency, maybe. I may be overselling.
I was hoping after the UCF game that was that, right? You had your scare of we had trouble getting up for that game, and I was hoping we were going to get back on track. And then, like I said, it's kind of spiraled both weeks since then. So it's concerning there. Can I ask one more question before you guys let me go?
Yeah, real quick, Chase, real quick.
Flip it over to the NFL. Dallas is down 11 with, 4 minutes left yesterday. Why did they go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal and being down 8?
I was wondering
because the way the game played out, they were down 5. They would have been in a position to kick a field goal and win the game at the end.
Because everybody wants to be cool and edgy and new and do things different instead of just kicking the damn ball. That's why. Because everybody just wants to be. It's like, why do people walk around in fashion shows basically wearing trash bags and we call it great? Because people just want to be edgy. They want to be new. They want to be different instead of kicking the ball. It's simple. It's simple. If you're down 14 points and you score, kick the extra point. Stop doing this.
I couldn't believe it from the.
You know what? We're using the word analytics. You know what it replaced? Nuts. That's what it replaced.
Not only that, but even when they were down 5, they were treating it like the last possession of the game. Whereas you could potentially go down and kick that field goal and possibly even get the ball again.
And you have a 2-minute warning.
Even a delay of game penalty there. What are you delaying?
Yeah.
You're down.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
That was another thing I said out loud.
And that's the more experienced team and coaching staff. I mean, that coaching staff there has been around since the merger, I feel like. It's Nick
sitcom dad,
and
Mike
other
McCarthy.
guys who are the younger guys, the kids on the team, and situationally, they were better.
Yeah, I agree. Chase, thanks, bud.
Thanks, man. All right, let's go to D in Arizona. D, what's up?
D who?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good
D,
morning.
what's up?
It's an honor to be talking with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
First-time caller, but a very long-time booster.
All right. Yes, another one for the
I wanted to start saying thank you so much for all that you guys do. I caught you right before I was about to give up on college football, so your show means a lot to me.
Well, thank you,
the biggest reason I called in, of course, is I need to brag on my Arizona Wildcats. I am the resident Arizona Wildcat fan in the chat.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, I was really nervous going into this game with UCLA, especially considering the way we beat them last year, their ranking, and they had a pretty good defense. However, not only did we beat them Saturday, which felt amazing, due to the realignment, it's our very last game with them, so that's a good way to end it. We got 3 consecutive wins against ranked opponents for the first time in our program's history, at least.
Yep.
And we're going to a bowl game for the first time since 2017. To say I'm excited is a huge, huge understatement. I could not sleep for 2 hours after that game.
I don't blame you.
And it's just been awesome to watch this team evolve. I've been going to these games my whole life. Jed has really done something so special for Arizona. It's incredible. The fact that we have to argue about who is going to be our starting QB just feels so good, and we have our defense back.
Yeah.
So I'm over the moon.
I bet. What a great time for Arizona fans. You've got your coach. You're winning. You're going to the Big 12. You slapped UCLA 3 times and walked out the door. And it's the first day of college basketball season. What a great time to be an Arizona fan.
I mean, first of all, absolute dropping facts and knowledge on the call. I mean, goodness gracious, Steve. I love it. Look, you just got to keep your coach. At this point, you just got to keep him.
Yeah.
He's the hottest girl in high school right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Arizona, they ain't broke.
And at this point, forget about going bowling with 6 wins. I mean, you go on the road to Colorado this weekend. Okay, Colorado's been struggling the last few weeks, we know. You get Utah at home.
Winnable.
Okay?
Winnable.
Without Cam Rising, we've been talking about that. Then you go on the road to Arizona State, obviously a rivalry in-state
You're better
matchup,
than they are.
but you're a better football team. I mean, we're sitting here talking about 8 or 9 wins at this point.
Are we talking a 9-3 Arizona? Are we
win
talking a
9
9-3 Arizona that goes 7-2 in the Pac-12?
They could win 9 games.
I think it's going to be 9-3. I'm going to knock on wood. I think it's 9-3. We're for sure winning the rivalry.
And I mean, think about that. Even when you played at Southern Cal when they were ranked 9, 43-41 game, you were right there in it with a chance to win that one.
Should have beat Mississippi State.
And played Washington.
Should have beat Mississippi State.
Yep.
On the road, honestly. But D, great call. Please call back and congrats. Tell everybody out there we're happy for you guys. It's fishing season all year round.
See ya.
See ya, D. All right, let's go to John down in my hometown of Savannah, Georgia. What's up, John?
What's up, Crane & Co.?
John,
what's up, John?
Oh, well, a couple things. Sorry I haven't called in a while. Literally last time I got off the phone with you, my boss called me and said, hey, we're going to pay you more money and change your hours. So I said, okay.
Well, yeah, you say, okay, thank you. How long have you known Lincoln Riley?
Unfortunately, too long. I've been forced to watch his product for several years.
The guy from Flex Seals, the new DC there. He's like, with the USC, you can just put some duct tape on the D-line.
I think Lou Holtz is doing the new Flex Seal commercials.
No way.
Yeah.
Really? All right, sorry, John. We digress.
It's okay. It's all good. So a couple quick things. Happy to report that the Savannah Ghost Pirates won their home opener on ice.
Yes.
Weeks ago.
Let's go.
By the way, shout out Steven had a Ghost
Ogden
Pirates hat on.
Can we get in touch with the people who run that? Maybe we send a couple more jerseys up here.
Yes.
We need the black and green one.
Look, anything that I don't know whether I'm so excited to go to a game or watch the episode of Scooby-Doo, I'm all down for.
I'm going to be down there in December, but they play away those days, man.
Well, how much do you care?
I looked at the schedule.
You know what you got to do.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. You got kids. You got kids. Go ahead, John. What's your question, bud?
So the LSU-Alabama game, I've been like you guys all season. I've been yelling at the TV, watching it, say, why is Milroe not running the ball?
Yeah.
Just check your first read and tuck and run. And we're sitting there, we're watching the game, and he doing what we've been asking him to do all year. Was this him finally saying, "Nah, I'm not going to try to hold on the ball and force it down the field," or was this the greatest long con of Nick Saban's career? I mean, was this better than the 1971 Alabama team when they came out with the wishbone against USC? I mean, we know. I mean, he's like Palpatine. He played both sides against each other. I mean,
well, it just feels like the end.
Take on that.
It just feels like Kevin Spacey at the end of Usual Suspects. You know, when he's like walking like bow-legged, like something, all of a sudden he just starts walking good, and like the movie ends. Here's what I think. I think it's. I'm not in the building. I've asked a couple people that I know, and you know, I've gotten mixed answers. I think it's one of a couple things. One, you knew that LSU was going to score points. So regardless of what murder ball or bully ball or old school type ball you're going to play, you had to try and score as many points as humanly possible, which you always want to do, but you let it go, right? It's Elsa from Frozen, whatever her name is. Sometimes you just got to let it go. Or number two, whoever was telling Jalen Milroe, stay in the pocket, stop saying it. But why I think it was a conscious effort is because there was a lot more quarterback design runs, and that's not just Q power, right? That's not just gap scheme runs with the quarterback. It was zone read. It was RPO. He was keeping the ball off split zone, right? Off that RPO action, which could have been a bluff where you throw it in the flat or you keep it, you run it. Yeah. Scored a touchdown, and they ran it again in the red zone the next drive. I think it was a conscious effort. I don't know if it was a long con. I think maybe they just finally said, all right, we got to do this.
There's no way we're up 3 against Arkansas and say, hey, I'm going to run them. Like, no, we got to beat LSU.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You made the best point in the live stream was, well, you wouldn't have already lost to Texas, right?
Yeah,
you're sitting here undefeated and you're trying to save something for your bigger game. Okay, but we just talked about the stats. -3 yards rushing. What was it against Arkansas? -19 against Texas A&M, like 3. And now 155? Yeah, that's a change in mentality, and it's good to see if you're an Alabama fan.
Do you think? I think maybe it's like, you know, the only explanation there would be is like you're scared to get him hurt. Like
that's the only. Well,
you saw what your backups are. Hey, David, they're about as good as me with the torn Achilles.
Well, it's almost like Nick Saban was like, hey, let's let them play against USF and let's just see how bad they are. Like, what if they did that to decide whether or not they were going to run Jalen Milroe?
And if none of us had any Jalen Milroe sample size up to this point, I don't think we would have been calling for that so much earlier in the season.
No.
But I watched this guy win them football games last year with 75-yard touchdown runs in the fourth against Arkansas and other teams when Bryce Young went down. So I knew that was his strength, right? Yeah. All the reports out of Tuscaloosa, this guy's the best athlete every time he steps on the field. How is he rushing for -14 yards then?
He is flying.
He's flying.
Like, he's legitimate 4.4.
He's big.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah. So, John, great call, buddy.
Appreciate it, man. Take care of the 912. All right, let's go to Cody in Illinois. We got to meet Cody this
Definitely.
weekend. Cody,
what's up, man?
All right. Who's ready for a QB10 update?
Yes. Let's do it.
QB10 update. We're still going?
Today we have the Gator Bowl, number 13 Michigan versus number 18 South Carolina. And before we get to the stats in the game, we're going to do a little bit of the awards, since the awards happened before the bowl games.
All right.
So with the Heisman, number 4 was Kenny Irons from Auburn. Number 3 number 3 was Ohio State. Number 10, Troy Smith. Number 2 was actually John David Booty from USC.
Wow. No way.
Smell him from here. From LSU wins the Heisman.
He's going to be a bust. He's going to be a bust, guys.
Don't draft
him.
Don't
draft
do
QB10.
Yeah. He's got all the lean in Mobile.
We didn't even get an invite, man.
When I was going through all the trophies and award winners and whatnot, only one Michigan guy was in any running for any trophies, and that was Prescott Burgess for the Bednarik and the Bronco Nagurski, and he came in third in both of those, and he was also our only first-team All-American.
Prescott's a good
Steve
player,
Reston was second-team All-American as a returner. And then I was very puzzled when I got to the next screen, and when I got to the freshman All-American, the first name on that list was QB number 10 from the University of Michigan.
Of course.
Go.
Freshman All-American. A lot of promise.
Yeah, not good enough.
So when your quarterback wins freshman All-American, the future usually looks bright. So I think we have a pretty good future there.
Cody, I think we do too.
To the game itself.
Gator Bowl.
He did a bunch of positive stuff, so he got lost this game.
All right, stats. We've got 19 of 36 for 282 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
We can win.
And Michigan wins the game 38-29.
Let's go.
Okay, hey, look, good end of the year, freshman All-American. Cody, we got a sophomore year. We got to hit the weights, and we got to make sure we're looking at the scouting.
Well, we will. Mike Gittelson's up there. We're going to hit the weights.
Hey, we already have three 4-star receivers, and I'm going to make sure to look for a 5-star in the offense.
Definitely. Well, Cody, please keep us updated.
What was our record? What was Michigan's record?
11-2.
Okay.
And then I do have final stats if you'd like to hear.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right. On the season, Cone was 211 for 376 with 2,877 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. And he does have the single-season touchdown record for Michigan, and it looks like he's on pace to break a whole bunch of others.
There we go, Cody.
Look, it's natty or bust now.
Who's this guy?
Papa Cone, I'm disappointed too. I don't know what his problem
This guy's on the phone with my dad over here. He's so disappointed.
Look,
you know what? Freshman All-American.
Cody, thanks so much, buddy. Please keep us updated. It was great to meet you.
Great to meet you, Cody.
All
right. Dylan in Washington. Dylan, you got 30 seconds here, man. What's up?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, Dylan. How you doing, buddy?
Hanging in there. Hey, so, first things first, UW looking pretty strong this year. It's nice as a UW fan to finally have a really strong team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to be going to the Utah game this weekend.
Nice.
So I wanted to get your guys' take. UW's offense, high octane. They're really clicking. Utah's defense, though, I think is going to be a challenge for Michael Penix.
Yeah.
I think they're really tough. I'm wondering if you guys think that they have it in them to overcome the Utah defense and win that game.
Yeah, talent-wise. I mean, Washington, from an offense going against a defensive standpoint, is never going to be out-talented or not have a chance to score points, right? Even against the top defenses in the country, whether that be Georgia, when you have the personnel that they have, when you have a quarterback that can make every throw from the end to the front, from the soft to the fast, you're always going to have a chance. And I think their run game's a little bit sneaky, too. They obviously pass to run. They kind of go inverse. The thing, and we've seen this a little bit with them in some of these games that they've barely won, it's protecting the ball, right? I feel like the only way, because Washington can win in a track meet, we've seen them win in low-scoring games, but the thing that will trip them up is the thing that always trips up every great team, and that's turnovers, right? Whether that be offensively, whether that's getting a punt blocked, whether that's giving up a kickoff return for a touchdown. I think they could give up a lot of points and still win the game. I don't think Utah's good enough offensively. I know Washington isn't the best defense in the country, but I think they're good enough to be able to hold Utah enough to let that offense overwhelm them. I think you guys have maturity. That's one of the biggest things that Washington has. Michael Penix isn't afraid. Sometimes he does try and force it in there, but every quarterback does every now and then. If I had an arm like Michael Penix, I would try and force it in there every now and then. But I think you guys are too talented. I think you'll just score too many points.
Yeah, and I think Penix is just, I think he's learned from those mistakes, and he's thrown those really bad balls. And I think a few of them were so close. And I think he looked at the film and said, "All right, well, I got to stop forcing it there. I'm better than that."
Yeah,
I just don't see him making.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I would say you live to play another down, right? You're good enough with those guys. I mean, heck, even if it's 2nd and 9 and the guy's not there and you throw the check down to get in 3rd and 6, or you throw the ball away, it's 3rd and 9, you're still better than they are on 3rd and 9. Washington's an offense that can line up when you know they're throwing it, I know they're throwing it, they know they're throwing it, God knows they're throwing it, they can still get 3rd and 9. That's how, because there's 3 of them. You can't double everybody.
No. Yeah.
But great call.
No.
Appreciate it, Dylan.
Thanks, Dylan.
And I just wanted to say real quick, guys, thank you for all you guys do. You guys have, I'm a former player myself. You guys rekindled my love recently, so I get to watch football with my boys and enjoy it again.
Dude, man, that means the world. That's why we do it, bro. We really appreciate that, man.
Let's squeeze in one more call here. We got Caveman 2.0 on the line. Caveman, you got 30 seconds, brother.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. So 2 out of my 3 picks hit.
There you go.
I just had to open my big fat mouth, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
So that's on me. I was wrong about that. However, I finally put my finger on why I haven't been a fan of Lane Kiffin, but now I think I'm going to start rooting for him. He's the anti-hero.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Everyone wants to root for Superman, but no one wants to root for the fireman that, isn't the most upstanding citizen, but he gets the job done.
That's exactly right. Maybe he drinks a little bit too much, but guess what? He's going in the building.
Yeah, never everyone thinks about the guy who Superman's car just picked up and threw into a building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, insurance ain't going to cover that.
He's got to pay for that, dog.
Yeah.
Like, what about him?
Think about him. That's Lane
Quick
Kiffin.
question for you guys. So, obviously, Clemson took down Notre Dame. Are we going to call out the fact that Notre Dame's been a complete fugazi this season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that. It's, again, when you get outplayed, again, they were lucky to survive Duke.
And they look
Marcus
so
Freeman.
good.
Boring.
They look so
not
good
the
early in
guy.
season.
I know.
what
They were able to line up and just big boy everybody, but I watched you get shoved in a locker by Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville. Hannah. There we go. I said it right.
Well done.
But, Caveman, we'll see, man. It's, look, hot seat next year, Marcus Freeman?
Yeah.
Has to be, right?
I can
Good looking only
definitely
gets you
see
so
that.
far. Especially if you're a dude.
I mean, we can't even get 11 kids on the field.
Yeah.
Talking
Good.
about Notre Dame.
Can't count to 11.
Yeah.
If you can't count to 11, then you don't need to be a head coach. That's for sure.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
But no, we'll see. Caveman, thanks for the call.
Great call, bud.
Justin Decker told me he was going to call today because he had some rant or some. I don't know if he's on the line or not. Maybe he got held
I
up.
don't see him.
Gotcha.
Do not see him.
All right, because he sent me like a long message. He's like, I'm breaking the airwaves today. But real quick, before I get to bets, get to the Booster Club.
All right, yeah, I'm going to roll through these donations. Let's go to the house at Cody Bill. He just called $5 donation. You want to get a little update real quick. National Championship results. LSU 26, Ohio State 38.
OSU won the. Well, in all fairness, they did actually win it that year. No, they
So
lost.
Jack
Actually, they
Hogan,
lost to
$5.
Florida. They lost to Florida that
Yeah.
year.
Right. Remember, Ted Ginn ran the opening kickback.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Ted Ginn was an
Troy
absolute
Smith won
problem.
the Heisman.
Let's go to Jack Hogan, $5 donation. A&M put in a 24 countdown clock, except they set it to days, not hours. What did Peyton Thorne wait till now to figure it out for Auburn?
Well,
AU over Bacon bits big.
all right, we're going to talk A&M tomorrow and Jimbo Fisher. I literally used the relationship analogy last week. I think his time is done. You saw Feinbaum and them come out and say it as well. We know A&M has the money. I don't care what anybody says. It's unacceptable. You're now 0-9, I think, in your last 9 SEC road games. Or is it against ranked teams? It's one of those two. Second thing, one of the reasons Peyton Thorne figured it out, you're playing teams that you have better players than now, right? I think one of the things Auburn fans should take solace in is they've been able to compete in games where they've been out-personneled and they're winning games that they have better personnel. It just kind of shows you, what Hugh Freeze is doing. But Peyton Thorne right now on this offense, again, Vanderbilt, not a great football team. All right, I think we can admit that. All right, the last couple of weeks you've played against Mississippi State. Auburn has better personnel than them, but you still got to go out there and make the plays. So kudos to him. I hope he does figure it out. But he also threw a pick 6, and I watched Vandy drop 4 balls in the first half that were huge misses.
Let's go to Ryan Gade, $5 donation. Appreciate it, brothers. Just a bunch of Mormons came to our door Saturday. We said this already, almost heaven, and told them to get off our lawn and slammed a L in their face.
West Virginia, man, Neil Brown. Can you imagine if they didn't give up that Hail Mary to Houston? And you look at the Big 12 right now, it's wonky, man. It's wonky. It's Willy wonky.
Go to Q-Smo Jimbo. What's up, brother? $10 donation. Shout out to the New York Giants legend Antonio Pierce for his big W against us as the interim head coach for the Raiders.
Yeah. Yep.
My boys in blue played horribly, but I'm proud of my guy who's an integral part of our Super Bowl team.
You want to know how much the players didn't like Josh McDaniels? They were all smoking cigars after the win. The Raiders were in the locker room.
They said Antonio Pierce gave a speech like in the all-team meeting that week before and brought up the Giants' win over the Patriots, and Josh McDaniels was on that staff and didn't like it.
Yeah.
And said something about it, and that like made its way up to Mark Davis or something. He said, I want to go with the guy who thinks we can win week in and week out.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels to me is like cheese from old school.
You want that cheese, Danny?
Yeah, I got out.
Let's go to Cole Frank, $5 donation. Good to see you in here, Cole. LeBron is still mad. MJ's a GOAT. I was at the Packers game this weekend.
Wow.
It was awesome to see a W, a George W.
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah, the Rams, without Matt Stafford, you talk about peeing in the wind.
It was a good win for Green Bay.
Good win for Green Bay.
Let's go to Trey Bodenheimer, the $2 donation. Lines are full, so I'm calling tomorrow. #RTR. Let's see how many days we can just push Trey down the week.
No, we got to get Trey in here.
I mean, he got enough comments on the Saturday night show.
Yeah, Zabodenheimer.
Basically hosted. All right, let's go to Steve. Hey, $5 donation. Can't get through on the phone, so I'll ask here, where's the sign?
Hey, tomorrow.
Believing.
Tomorrow, it's getting debuted. Don't worry, we got something set up for it. Great to see you. Great to meet you. I didn't realize Steve was like 6'5".
Tree.
All
right, that's all the donations.
All right, here we go. Bets tonight. I do got to give a shout out to my wife. All right, she hit a $5,600 bet. $5,600, $623.04 off a $13.63 bet.
Kidding me?
She had a 7-leg anytime touchdown parlay. This was insane. My animals were going nuts in the living room because we were going nuts. They thought the North Koreans were attacking us. She had Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown hit. Nico Collins, anytime touchdown hit. Brian Robinson Jr., anytime touchdowns hit. She had Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts in the Eagles game. She had Amari Cooper and Kareem Hunt in the Browns game. Guess what, boys?
Wow.
Woo! Big time, big money.
Congrats,
Shout out
Reed.
my baby.
That's your
right.
money, Reed.
Yeah. No, the money's going on
That's
the
your
credit
money,
card.
Reed.
That's your
Hey,
money, Reed.
if the
You
money
need
I
it now.
won in Vegas, the money I won in Vegas with a credit card, this money's going to the credit card.
Nah,
Guess
that's
what?
your-
Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
You go buy some nice stuff.
Here's what we
It's a
got. You know
Whitworth
what?
situation.
You know, God, I can't wait for Blaine. I just can't wait. I can't wait for Blaine to be in a relationship.
Blaine can wait.
Yeah. Here's what I got tonight. College basketball. That's right. I'm not betting on the Jets Chargers. Y'all have lost y'all's damn mind. I'm taking USC in a good game. I believe it's out in Vegas against Kansas State. Jerome Tang, one of my favorite head coaches in college basketball, but Andy Enfield's also one of mine. So I'm going to go USC money line minus 148. And then I never cheer against Americans unless they're playing Villanova. Villanova's got American tonight. They're a 22-point favorite. They're just something about Villanova. Hashtag believe, believe.
I like that. College basketball action already.
Auburn plays Baylor tomorrow.
Half my fantasy football team is basically the Chargers, so I'm going to hedge a little bit tonight, especially because I'm playing against Breece Hall. So I'm going to take that Breece Hall anytime touchdown at plus 115, and then I'm going to take the Chargers Jets under 40.5 minus 129.
All right, that's what I'm taking. Give me the Charger. I bet it at Sunday. Give me the Chargers money line minus 170. I wonder if that's going to hit. I can see right through that giant head of yours. Give me Breece Hall, the over and the rushing over 60.5. That's going off at a minus 113.
All right, Ace is the place with the friend. Never mind.
Yeah,
Ace is the
blew
place
it.
with
You
the
were
helpful
close.
hardware,
That was
folks.
close.
There it
Yes.
is, David.
Ace is going to take the Jets plus 3.5 at minus 115. And then Austin Eckler, first touchdown score, plus 475. Don't hate it. Don't hate it. All
All
right,
right, let's get to the poll.
let's get to it.
Who wins the SEC? Alabama, Georgia, or other?
I'm going to say people said Bama, 41%.
Georgia, 45% Georgia.
Other, 4%. Georgia, 49%.
Wow.
Alabama, 46.
Wow.
Ooh,
It was
tight,
tight.
though.
It was
Tight,
tight.
though.
Tight like a toy.
Well, toy like a toy guy. Good job in the chat today. We appreciate everybody. Great seeing everybody at the Booster Club tailgate. It's something we need to start doing annually. Make sure you grab some merch. Check out Indochino. Check out Raycon. Check out Good Ranchers. Use that promo code Booster. It helps us out, helps you out, helps the world out, and it also helps them out. We appreciate you guys and like the chances of Jimbo Fisher winning a game on the road that matters. We're going. Oh, God, it's a great throw. Gone.